So what you're about to hear was recorded on the wrong microphone interface. It was my desktop while I was standing up talking to a microphone that was misconfigured. So I was seeing the waveform on the computer, so I thought that I had a really strong signal. Instead, it was recording the desktop microphone on the computer. We're going with it anyway. Some time ago, I mentioned the value of just journaling out and just dumping stuff out on paper, particularly when maybe your day is not off to the start that you would like it to be. And so, having woken up in not such a good state and dreading the day and everything that was ahead of me, I had my magic cup of coffee, did a couple things, and then I made a switch. I alternate between keeping a journal on paper and composition books. I love composition books. Wide ruled, not college rule. It's wider lines, but maybe my writing's big. It just makes more sense to me. Anyway, I have been keeping a journal in a Libra office dock and realized that when I do that, I get distracted. I end up in the web browser instead when I have a new idea to go look up or something. I switched over to paper today, and I'm just going to read what I wrote down. You might resonate with this. You might think I'm crazy for sharing this. I'm sharing this in the interest of, I don't have it all together. I'm as human as you probably are. And it was just a simple 2-step process that I did, but it really did yield what I hoped it would. Was the day perfect? Was it just like I executed it all perfectly? No, it wasn't. But I like to think of this like a compass. Like it set an intention and a direction for the day that without it, I don't even want to think about what would have happened. And the backdrop here on today is we're getting ready for a trip. We're going out of town for 4 or 5 days. And so it's just kind of that, before you go for a trip kind of energy or feel. So I wrote down the date and I said, I'm feeling, and then I just bulleted all these things out. Exhausted, discouraged, agitated, headache, stiff neck, overwhelmed, incompetent, not on top of things, lost, inefficient, untethered, lame, judgmental, dread, tired, unclear, weak, incompetent. So much potential today that will be wasted, even though I can save it if I'm not an idiot. So after writing that, I really don't know where I've written these things down, or I don't know if I found them in books. Anyway, the next thing I wrote down was, by the way, I like different colored, many years, my wife found these Bic colored ballpoint pens, and they write really smooth, and they're all different colors. And so I switch colors. I often do that as I'm writing on paper, is I'll just switch colors when I change subjects or words or whatever. So anyway, I was in this teal-looking blue ink, and I switched to red, and here's what I wrote, and then I drew. So here's what I wrote in red, and drew a huge box around. Here is the day I am declaring and creating. And I emphasize the words declaring and creating. And then I created 2 columns. A column that says yes, and a column that says no. And I'm going to read you what's in each column, mostly. Some of it's a little redacted because it just wouldn't be appropriate to share here. So in the yes column, we have ease. In the no column, we have thrash. In the yes column, we have time blocked, like working in little timer blocks. In the no column, we have ruminate. In the yes column, we have movement and exercise. In the no column, we have news and social media. In the yes column, pack, trip prep, as much as possible now. Meaning use the best energy of the day right away as opposed to putting it off. In the no column, beat myself up. In the yes column, meditate and take micro rests. In the no column, constant email checking. In the yes column, crashing it today because I stay focused and disciplined. And by disciplined, I pointed at my no column, staying away from it. Leaning into my I am statements, Maybe someday I'll talk about those. And doing the hardest things first. In the no column, worrying about it. By the way, these things, they're not tied to each other. I'm just kind of alternating between the columns. In the yes column, decluttering as I go. As I'm packing clothes and I find a shirt that doesn't fit me anymore, is worn out, or I hate, get rid of it. In the no column, worrying about, redacted. In the yes column, upbeat. In the no column, tomorrow. In other words, worrying about tomorrow or thinking about tomorrow. In the yes column, hilarious, myself, now. Those were like ways that I wanted to be when I got onto a particular meeting with a couple people that I'd never met before. And then in the no column, worrying about how my body feels and my head feels. I wasn't feeling that great. And so the idea there was just don't dwell on that. So I can't say enough about this little exercise that I just kind of pulled out of the air. Making a list of all the things you're feeling, no filters, no wrong answers, nothing to be ashamed of. They're just feelings. Then making some type of declaration, and then creating a column of things that you will say yes to, or that you will do, and a column of no's, things that you're saying no to, or that you will, to the best of your ability, not do because they don't serve you. So if you experiment with this or you do something similar, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know. Thanks for listening to The John Polster Show. Notes, links, and all that other good stuff for this episode are at johnpolster.com/podcast. Send your questions, ideas, or a simple hello to podcast@johnpolster.com. Want to stay up to date on new episodes and receive notifications of upcoming events? Register your email address at johnpolster.com/updates.